Hi everyone, it's Don and I'm speaking to you from the Allure of the Seas, just a couple hours from Halloween. And I wasn't going to do a video today, but I kind of had to bring it up. I'm on Royal Caribbean and as you can see, I'm taking classes here on board while I'm on the ship, learning more about all the new itineraries coming up, the new ships that are being built, a whole new class, all kinds of exciting stuff. Really enjoying my time on board so far. But I hear a news story today that the Navigator of the Seas is in Vigo, Spain. And if you remember, I stopped in Vigo, Spain on my itinerary from on the Royal Princess, traveling across the transatlantic because we had to avoid the hurricane. So instead of heading up to Norway and heading up to Ireland and then over to Newfoundland, they sent us down to Spain. And I didn't mind Spain or anything like that, and we understood because, you know, it was a hurricane after all. We'd rather be safe. Well, something happened with the Navigator of the Seas. Apparently it hit some rough seas, and the stabilizer that they send out to the side of the ship, that they have 4 stabilizers, and they head out of the corners side of the ship and they work together to keep the ships from going this way. They can't do anything about going up and down like this on a pivot, but they do stabilize the ship from going back and forth this way. Apparently one of the stabilizers broke off and started to flood the ship, and they were hundreds of miles away from land. They yelled out a code Bravo, which I guess is code for taking on water, because the next thing passengers knew, that the staff seemed to have disappeared and the staff was running around with life jackets on. And of course, they're doing their job, right? They are heading out and they are trying to fix the problem and getting to their stations in case the worst happens and they have to abandon ship. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. And of course, passengers are, what's going on? What's happening? What's going on? And you have to understand in this situation, the individual crew member doesn't know. So people are getting upset with the crew member and the stateroom attendant and the waiter in the bar. And they're, what's going on? How come you don't tell us what's going on? Well, they're not the ones who know. The people on deck and the repair crews are the ones that know. So they're handling the situation. If it comes to the point where the ship is in danger, they will announce that to get to your life jackets. And again, in the meantime, you should just be ready just in case something happens. But to keep going out, reports are, you know, some passengers were so irate at not being told exactly what was going on that they started blocking some of the crew members from, you know, getting to where they were heading until they answered their questions. And quite frankly, that is idiotic. When I heard the stories like that, I just shook my head. Now, as far as the ship is concerned, it docked in Vigo for 24 hours of repairs. They fixed the hole, they fixed the leak, they've drained the ship. They temporarily cordoned off that area. In case you don't know, ships are divided into watertight contained areas. So once water started flooding in one area, they sealed it off. Once they realized what the size of the hole was, sealed off that area and pumped the water out of the surrounding areas and started drying it off. So it was one compartment that was flooded. It's going to be repaired and they'll fix it. It's completely seaworthy. So if you have anybody on the Navigator of the Seas right now, don't worry about it. Everybody is perfectly safe. As far as compensation was going, people were saying that they've missed 60% of their ports. They didn't sign up for spending all day in this port, that they over 24 hours in a port, and etc., etc. Of course, people are upset, fine, but I mean, the ship broke. It's not exactly something that could be helped. It's not like, you know, they knew they were going to have engine problems and they took the cruise anyway, and we didn't make half the ports because the ship wasn't going fast enough. No, the stabilizer broke off the ship. It's not like, surprise, oh, by the way, we knew this was going to happen. We were just waiting for it. No, it's nothing like that. So apparently the cruise line has offered 25% refund of the cruise onto your state account from the cruise, so you can spend it, and it is a refundable amount. So they put it on your cruise account. If you spend the money on board, if you're spending money on board, the money comes off of that money first. It doesn't go against your credit card until that money's gone, and then it will hit your card. If you don't spend that money at all, the money goes to your credit card at the end of the cruise. Or that's what happened to us when we were offered money back on our trip in the transatlantic because of the hurricane. And they were offered a 25% future cruise credit as well. A lot of people are saying this isn't good enough. Personally, I'm kind of two minds. It may, they may have been able to do a little better, but 25% is a pretty good amount to get back on your cruise. It's not the cruise you signed up for, but something happened on the ship, and they're giving you 25% on another cruise in the future. So if you remember my compensation, we got 20% back on our cruise, and we got a $200 onboard credit. So the compensation these people are getting are better than the compensation I got on mine. And my cruise was 15 days, this cruise was 10 days. So I don't think it's an unreasonable amount of money that they've given back. It is disappointing. Don't get me wrong, if you're on a cruise and something happens and your ship's delayed or you have a scare, I completely understand. But with cruising, you just gotta learn to go with those punches. You gotta understand that sometimes something happens. If you go to Walt Disney World and the ride breaks down on Walt Disney World's It's a Small World, and it takes you 2 hours to get off the ride because they can't get to you where you are, they're not refunding you your hotel tickets. They're not refunding anything on that. You can't demand money back. It doesn't work that way. So, yeah, I feel sorry that this cruise, some people feel it was ruined. They only managed to get to 3 ports on a 10-day cruise, which isn't a whole lot. But at least you're safe. The crew handled themselves and repaired everything. You might not have been getting the information you thought you should get immediately, but they have to look after things first. And can you imagine you're on a ship and the captain comes on board, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking on water. Our stabilizer broke and the ship is leaking." That's a pretty big announcement. How much panic would be on that ship immediately? No matter what he said afterwards. Even if he started saying, "But don't worry, everything's under control, we're sealing off that department." No. The panic would have already been gone all over the ship. So they have codes for that, to keep panic down on a cruise ship. Oh, what do you guys think? Do you think they should let people know more often what's going on? I'm not on the ship. I'm on my own ship and I'm enjoying myself, and unfortunately these people are not. But I'm wondering, do you think they just weren't being told enough? Not that they were demanding to know, although some people were demanding to know exactly what's going on right now, but maybe they wanted more updates as to what's happening when they see crews standing around with life jackets. I don't know if they were told anything until later on when they were approaching Vigo. No reports have come out from there other than that the ship is seaworthy. It's been inspected by the ports and the Maritime Law Office and the docking commissions, and everybody has checked it off, engineers, and the ship is seaworthy, the ship is safe, and they've okayed it to continue on its voyage. It will dock back in Southampton on its regularly scheduled time, and at that point they will probably be sending it for repairs, and also I would suspect that the next cruise or the cruise and possibly the cruise after that, could be dramatically interfered with. So if you're expecting to go on the Navigator of the seas anytime soon, I might be calling the cruise line Royal Caribbean and saying, is my cruise still going on? Because if they're sending the ship into repairs, you may not be on board. Also, that depends, can they get a stabilizer to the ship in time? Will it affect how many ports you get to go to? And will it affect how rough your seas are going to be if they can't send out a stabilizer? All these questions you should be finding out. So I just wanted to keep you guys informed. Everybody on the boat is safe. They are getting some kind of compensation. We're still going to wait for more details to come out. But if you have a cruise coming up soon on the Navigator of the Seas, I would be asking questions about your cruise, because if there's going to be an interference, you may be able to switch it for a future cruise without any penalties whatsoever, just to be safe that your cruise isn't going to be interfered with. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.